Which delivers the most leads, Facebook or Google?
Can you get me loads of leads? And I go, yeah, I can. That's your only tactic. I guarantee you'll be calling me next month going, Clint, some of these leads aren't coming good. Because you don't understand your own strategy.
I think locally as an estate agent, you can beat Rightmove.
You know, I know, it is very reactionary. And I suppose because they are reactive, is the problem then they don't actually do anything with the leads?
It's strategy. And if you want short-term wins, I can give you 50 ways of getting those short-term wins. That's all fine. But when those short-term wins run out, what then? So ChatGPT still doesn't give the options of what Google gives.
How are you going to attract sellers? Would you still be able to sell a property? For 80% of estate agents out there, they're basically so-and-so estate agent powered by Rightmove.
Anyone that complains about how much Rightmove costs are the kind of people that don't even understand their own business.
So welcome to the next episode of Estate Agent Showdown with my two fabulous guests, Clint Nykamp and James Cocker. Now, James, how do I introduce you for the people that don't know? What's the best way to describe what you do?
Well, I help agents on social media, help them build a brand that sells properties and also gets valuations. And I'm trying to make it, a competitor within estate agents' businesses.
So are you building the next Rightmove? Is that right? That's what I've heard.
I would say
actually,
so.
I looked at your LinkedIn headline. So
it's a good headline.
Yeah, it's a great headline.
Yeah. I would say so, but not in the typical sense, not like a portal, but just in terms of, I think locally as an estate agent, you can beat Rightmove.
Yeah.
With not that you wouldn't need it, but you can beat it with your own brand and social media. So I guess in the kind of more modern sense, direct to consumer, I would say it's certainly starting to get there. So,
and we're lucky enough to have Clint as well. Clint's an estate agent. For those of you that don't know, he's worked in the prime market, the premium market, across the market. Currently a self-employed agent on the side, should we say, with Avocado?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
But your main thing is really marketing, and that you're otherwise known as Google Clint.
Google Clint, yeah.
So there you go. I think we know what you do now.
It was a client of mine, actually. No, it was when the business first took off, which I didn't plan. I was just helping someone with Google. I like to help people, and I was doing my own Google advertising for my own things, and someone said to me, can you help me with mine? And I said, yeah, okay. And that's how the business kind of took off. Yeah. But before I knew, people were going, speak to Google Clint. I think it was a chap down in Twickenham that was running a business down in Twickenham. He had, Darren, get his surname, he had said, Darren, no, not Keller. I think he was with Keller once, yeah. But then he started his own thing, and I can't remember the name of the company because I don't work with him anymore. But he said, speak to Google Clint. Speak to Google Clint. And then there was a hashtag Google Clint. And I was like, this is real. This is happening.
That's
so,
brilliant.
Yeah, that's how that happened, yeah.
Replace Rightmove James and Google Clint. Okay,
yeah.
Well, let's go. Yeah. Well, look, you guys...
I haven't trademarked that yet.
No, you haven't. I'm sure
you need to do that. I don't know what Google would say about it. That's why.
Yeah, that might cost a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
But, well, look, guys, we want to dive into this because I think as an estate agent myself, business owner, and a lot of agents out there, I think we can get a little bit confused, a little bit, I suppose, overwhelmed is probably a good word, with what we do with social media. But a quick fire question. Which delivers the most leads? Facebook for estate agents or Google?
Oh,
that's so difficult because I'll take this.
I don't know. I like this reaction best. You're too confident like that.
I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah, I think.
I know.
Do you know what's the difficulty behind it? Is there's so many questions surrounding what is a lead, and I'm sure James will agree with me. You go, what is a lead? But then there's also questions surrounding how you tweak what you're doing to get those leads in. And if someone said to me, Clint, I just need the biggest pile of leads you've ever seen, I couldn't care less whether they're moving this year or in 10 years' time, then I can make tweaks on Google Ads to just pile the leads in. That versus someone coming to me and saying, I want a bit of intent behind these leads. And just to break that down a bit further would be a keyword of what do you think my house is worth, typing into Google, or house valuation, or get a valuation.
And I assume you'd invest more in that as a spare.
Yeah, I can tweak that. So we can say your higher intent keywords are going to cost a lot more money. So when someone types in, get my house valued, they've got intent to get an estate agent out. Those leads are going to cost you 20 quid each. but I can get instant house valuation online for free, would cost you about 52 pence each. But those ones are going to be people that are just going, I hope an estate agent doesn't call me. I just want to know what it's worth online. I don't want anything else.
It's just different
so very,
very
low intent. And I'll let James take it from here. But I think you can do similar tweaks with the way you're putting the advert out on social media. So that's why it's a difficult question.
So Google's your speciality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Facebook, I've seen with what you do, seems to be yours.
Facebook and Instagram, yeah. I mean, it's a very similar thing to what Clint said. So, I think I'd say a lead is anybody that signs up for anything, but there's a difference between a lead and an inquiry.
Yeah.
I'd say an inquiry, again, is someone with intent. But then, it depends a lot of, I'd say between Facebook and Google, it's very much a similar kind of cost. It depends what you go for. Like you see a lot of these online valuation ads, everyone's got like a shitty graphic. We've all seen it. It says like property value calculator, you'll get leads at like £1 or £2. But if you target it, you've got a 17-kilometer radius. I think Google, you can do postcode targeting, which is much easier. 17-kilometer radius on Facebook.
17-kilometer radius.
Around where your area is.
Okay, yeah. So if you're going to work with that, that's the kind of...
Yeah, but you can make it, as long as you make it hyper-specific to your area.
Yeah.
Like I just had an agent when we started, we had a lot of leads all outside the area. But now the algorithm has learned 100% of the leads are coming through specifically in their 2 postcodes within that radius. But it's just a case of what you put on that ad to make it, on the valuation side of things, or anybody really, to make it specific to people with intent. If you say property value calculator, you'll get loads of fake phone numbers, the typical online valuation lead that people complain about. Obviously, you need to nurture them for the long term. But if you say something like, find out what your home could sell for, or we just sold this property, find out what we could potentially sell yours for, or see what the market is like, it's a higher cost per lead. But it's more like 10-20% of them are going to book a valuation, even though it's just a different spin on the typical online valuation tool.
Go on, you were going to say something.
Yeah, just and you can start piling all these factors up. So you went sort of postcode specific there. If I had a postcode in a beautiful little village down here in Cambridge somewhere, right? And the village only had X amount of houses, and people were very established there because that's where they moved to retire, and that's their final forever home. The leads I'm going to get out of that postcode will be far less than targeting Birmingham as a whole, or Coventry as a whole, or any area where there's a higher number of properties, so more units there. So again, it's like, well, what kind of leads are we talking about then? Are we talking volume? Because I'll just surround the whole of London. And, well, London's a bad idea, really, because Leeds are totally different down in London. I'll just surround Birmingham, for example, and the leads will just start flowing in, and I'll just cancel out any expensive leads, and eventually the algorithm will be getting me leads at £1 each, but the value won't be higher. But so going into sort of geographical locations, I work with an agent over in Wales, and it's mostly fields in the postcodes. Yeah. So how many leads are you going to get from there? Well, it's like saying, well, there's 10,000 houses in that area there, but there's only 4 in that area there because it's mostly taken up by fields. So how many are you going to get from there?
So there's a real value of doing this. Obviously, otherwise you guys wouldn't have your own businesses doing this. But what stops estate agents who aren't doing this from doing it? And is it because they don't understand it in full?
I think it's a very...
Because they want
business.
leads, right?
Yeah, but I think day-to-day inside of an estate agent, I mean, I've not actually been an estate agent, so I'm probably not the most qualified person to talk about it. But from working with agents and speaking to them every day for years now, I think it's day-to-day a very reactive business. You've got a valuation you've got to go out to, that's the priority. You get the more instructions in, you've got a viewing day to go to, you've got people to follow up with, you've got a call from a solicitor that you've been trying to chase up for 6 weeks and haven't heard from. Those things take priority on the day-to-day, even if you sit down with the intention to work on the business. I think it's not a very proactive kind of profession to have. I think that it's partly the investment side of things. It's partly the trying something new. Yeah. I think it's partly a very closed off industry. I came from outside of it. I think that...
Where did you come from?
Mainly social media. I also did door-to-door sales for quite a while too. But I've always had one foot in the social media game. Yeah. I'm telling you that some of the stuff of the marketing, the paid ads, the content, consumer behavior research goes so much further.
I think going back to what you were saying though, from a perspective of agents and why they don't do it, 100%, I know, it is very reactional.
It is. Yeah.
It's like you could start the day with the best of intentions.
Mm.
Out you go. You've got all your stuff planned out, and it all goes out the window by 10 a.m. with 2 buyers dropping out of a sale.
Yeah.
So is it? So from an outsourcing perspective, you're outsourcing it. Is that the route to go down, or is it quite easy to train somebody up to do this sort of stuff?
I just think it's about making the time and just maybe taking a look outside of the industry. I just feel like there's a lot of innovation with AI in the world, and you look back inside of a state agency, there's only 1 or 2 companies that are really at the forefront of it. Same with, I guess, marketing overall. If you look at like the best sales trainers, it's better than the sales training that we've got inside of a state agency. So I just think that, like the way I see it, you've kind of got like a state agency here as this kind of closed off industry. You've got this kind of moat of suppliers that maybe went from estate agents to suppliers. And then you've got agents when they start to look at innovating or doing different things, they kind of land in that moat around it. But I'd say the best information, 95%, not all the time, but 95% of the time, like Clint, you probably, when you were looking at Google, went outside of a state agency for Google content and learning, right? I'd say a lot of the best information is outside of it, and applying it back to it, you'll typically always get the better results. It's just about finding the time to do that and finding the right places to look.
And I suppose because they are reactive and they are, let's say they are getting leads if they outsourced it, is the problem then they don't actually do anything with the leads?
It's strategy.
Okay.
It's complete lack of strategy.
Yeah.
And then when you dissect that even more, the lack of strategy comes from the type of person that becomes an estate agent and then becomes a business owner. Yeah. And I'm sure you've obviously been through that journey of becoming an estate agent, working your way through, and then owning your own estate agency. And if you look back and you look at the skills you had when you were just valuing properties, and then the skills you've now got with recruiting staff, training staff, looking after accounts, like the whole shebang, it's a completely different job. It's not estate. You don't do estate agency anymore. You're a business owner, not an estate agent. So what I find is that we've got estate agents now that work initially for maybe a corporate firm and then go, I'm really good at this. I could do this myself. And they either start up their own business or go self-employed. Once they do that, they're not going, right, what's the strategy of this business? And what I will say, and I'll give them a shout out on here, and this is who I'm self-employed for, is Ian Macbeth and Avocado Property. They understand marketing and strategy to start with. And then it filters down to estate agency. The reason I say that is if you become a self-employed estate agent at Avocado, the first thing Ian will say is, first of all, how much do you want to earn? I.e., what do you want the business to turn over? And he works it backwards and he goes, that's the exact amount you need to be spending on marketing. And it's a very high percentage. You know, if you want to earn 6 figures a year, you've got to spend $1,000 a month on marketing as a self-employed agent. And so when you work it backwards like that and you go, what's your actual strategy?
And by the way, marketing, right? Because I think, again, estate agents may confuse marketing with things like Rightmove and maybe lead sources like that.
Yeah.
But marketing, if you was to give some examples to the viewer, what sort of thing would Ian be sort of recommending?
So marketing, I mean, marketing is such a big thing at Avocado that what he's done is he's pulled in a marketing director because he's gone, we're estate agents, they've gone, we're estate agents. Why would we know everything about marketing? So what we need to do now is bring in a marketing director to head up and tell the agents, this is what you should be doing. So stuff like, obviously the normal advertising, like social media advertising, Google advertising, they've always spent a huge amount of both of those. And I'm sure we'll get into which is better. And, you know, do we do social media? Do we do Google? But they've also spent a lot of time and effort into the software they use. So the software they use is incredible. And the customer journeys, they spend hours and hours and hours and hours. In fact, in the last month, they've produced something like 52 different customer journeys per agent recorded on video, because they understand that marketing is about solid content. It's about being out there. It's about people knowing who you are, being engaged with local communities. They're massive into that as well. So marketing is like, I don't think you could go, I know this from experience from Google Clint, is that I know you can't go, I'm a valuer today and the next day I'm a business owner. That switch is massive. So I've had agents come to me and go, Clint, we've heard you doing Google. And I'm like, yeah, we've heard you get loads of leads. And I go, yeah. Can you get me loads of leads? And I go, yeah, I can. And I think to myself, it's probably a similar analogy to, let's go football here for a second. You get a brilliant football team and they spend 100 million quid on a striker. What would happen if you just put that striker on the field? Forget the rest of the team, forget the rest of the strategy, forget the rest of anything else. You just put, because you go, that's what's going to win us matches. Yeah. It's not. He needs his midfield, he needs his defenders, he needs his goalkeeper, he needs the management team, he needs the stadium, he needs the audience, he needs everything. And then he needs to be a brilliant striker, supported by everything else. And that's where agents lose it. They go, Clint said we could get 50 leads a month because he's looked into how many leads he could get out the postal code areas. And Google can predict this kind of thing. And I'll go back to them and say, look, on average, you could get between 50 and 70 leads per month. They go, brilliant, can you do that? And I'm thinking, oh, if that's your only tactic, if that's your only strategy, I guarantee you'll be calling me next month going, Clint, some of these leads aren't coming good. And I'm thinking, because you don't understand your own strategy.
It's interesting that. Do you agree?
I agree with definitely. I think this is the thing interesting to talk to you, Clint, because you've got one of the best marketing setups in a state agency as an estate agent with Avocado.
Yeah, I agree.
And you've got the marketing business. So you've got the social media, you've got the pre-launch strategies on social media, the content strategies, you've got the Google ads, you've got the life cycle and the customer journeys that happen there. You've got Rightmove, you've got pretty much everything. And like you said, you can't just have the striker, you can't just have the tactics, you need the whole team. And a lot of estate agents don't have that. Like this is
this why it doesn't go according to plan?
I think so. Like
because they're maybe skimming into different parts or just touching different parts and actually not building the whole strategy.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
I think that I guess I'm more on the supply side of things inside of a estate agency, but I think that for salespeople, like as a estate agent, you guys get sold to all the time. You're massive consumers. Like guys get sold all the time, right? So it's like there's always a new shiny object. There's always a new person, pushing towards this thing, referring you to that thing.
I mean, it's only going to be even more so with AI as well.
And a lot of it's just like what you would call a wrapper of ChatGPT. You could just get the same outcome from ChatGPT. A lot of the things that you're going to see in and outside of the industry, right? So it's like there's always a new thing. And I don't think people in a estate agency have patience. Obviously, you get paid less, so you kind of need results up front. So I think that like a lot of agents I've spoken to over the years, they're like, oh, well, we use this, we use that, and then we kind of turn the leads on sometimes. I'm telling you, if the leads were that good, you would never turn them off. Or if you had the nurturing side of things, the leads would come good in the end and you'd understand the value of it. So it's with strategy, it's about tactics.
I think if you going back to, again, using Avocado as an example, if you were to say to Ian Macbeth, which part of the business gets you the most leads, the most business, he'd go, all of it. He'd be like, all of it. The agents are brilliant. The journeys are brilliant. The Google side's brilliant. Of course, I know who does it. The social media is brilliant. Everything is. He couldn't go. I'll tell you what we could do.
He could though. He could look at it and go, yes, all of it's brilliant. But the agents get the short term. Social media gets the medium term. Yeah. Google maybe the long term. I'm just. For example, what sort of order would it look like? Because I think for agents, they look at everything too short term. They don't necessarily look long term.
I think it depends on your strategy on Google or social media. I think you can get some short term stuff in the meantime. Like when I'm working with an estate agent on social media, I'm typically looking at spending X amount of valuation ads, going to get X amount of leads through, and typically X amount of them are going to convert into valuations, leading to.
What is the X though? I mean,
it depends on what you spend. This is I know people don't want to hear it, but it's like Clint said, it depends on what you spend. It depends on what your goal is. I'm typically telling people what their strategy should be based on their current marketing setup. Like for example, if an agent's got a really good nurture sequence, going back to lifecycle, I know you guys use it and you're big fans. I'm pretty biased towards those guys too. But it's a case of obviously they have the property alerts and the registrations, the property matching. They're very good at the system at finding sellers and buyers. It's very easy for those ones to go, okay, look, let's just got a bunch of detached homes, semi-detached, terrace homes. Let's directly target all those properties, people looking at these properties across Facebook and Instagram, and we can get leads for at £1. They're going to go perfectly into the CRM, and they're going to be nurtured in line with that over time. But then if you're looking at valuations, for example, maybe a typical estate agent that say just started an estate agency business, doesn't have a massive budget, you could spend £200 a month on your Facebook and Instagram ads, get say 25, 30 leads, get 3 or 4 valuations from them, potentially an instruction, and that might be what you're looking at there. But it very much depends on where
It's
you
that
are in your
classic,
business.
isn't it? You get one instruction, it's worth it. You know, you hear that all the time,
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah,
It
yeah.
pays for itself.
Yeah.
It's like the
See,
lead
I've
man.
got a big problem with that, because this is the thing. If you're investing in something,
Yeah.
if it's that good, you're gonna have to worry about more than one instruction, right? Anybody that's telling you just one
Yeah.
instruction, like, you know, it's
But I'm just kind of like, I'm trying to be the agent in this conversation, because I think, you know, we all fall for a lot of pitches. There's a lot of silver bullets out there. There's a lot of game changers, and you can be very tempted because, you know, most estate agents, I would say, don't have enough valuations coming in that top of that funnel. And I'm not sure they want to do some of the things that are going to help them to get there. So one of the temptations are for agents is to go into these spaces and look for a quick result. But there's not really a quick result. It's I know what you mean. You can probably
you can do, but it's always better to build up the brand and build it
Yeah.
for the longer term. Yeah, for sure.
Is that because if you've got a longer term outlook on it, what would that look like in terms of time? Is that like a year, a 2 year, a 3 year? And then you wind it back to, what do you put into that ecosystem? What do you put into the algorithm?
Data, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's data. If the world revolves on data now, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you are a long-term thinker with your business, your main focus will be on contact details for homeowners. And then you go, so when are they going to sell? Doesn't matter. I'm not giving up the business in a year's time. So if they're selling 2 years' time, I'm happy with that. If they're selling 5 years' time, I'm happy with that. If they're selling 10 years' time, I'm happy with that. So your longer-term, bigger picture thinkers will be thinking data. But then what you've got to do, and this is creeping into the industry more and more now, is you've got to look after your men on the ground. And how do you do that? You can't, as a business owner at the top, go, don't worry, guys, we've got 50 more names and numbers of homeowners, because they're going to be going, none of them are selling this month. And you get that from salespeople all the time. I speak to business owners and they go, my guys on the ground are telling me that none of the leads came good this month. And I'm thinking, yeah, but you've got another 50 names and numbers of people that own properties in your area. And so from a business owner's perspective, the question is, who do I want to talk to and how do I do that? Do I own the data and then talk to them? Do I talk to them from a platform? Do I do both? And then you've got to drill it down and go, but how am I going to look after my guys on the ground? And one thing Mark Burgess has said to me before is that you can't look at a business and you can't look at all these things and go, we're not going to do that, or we are going to do that. You can do a bit of that and you can do a bit of that. So if I was starting a brand new estate agency right now, Google Ads is not going to earn me any money for 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I'm working with someone 6 years down the line who now is earning an absolute fortune from the Google and nurturing. But what you can do is go and knock on someone's door that's for sale and introduce yourself. I know it's a bit controversial. Some people hate that. But if I was starting my own company now, today, yeah, I'd be coming to James going, look, I'm starting my business today. In 5 years' time, I want it to be there. I'll be coming to people like myself and saying the same. In 5 years' time, this is where I want my business to be. But then at the same time, I'd be knocking on the doors of people in my area going, I'm starting my business today. And actually, I've spoken to someone today that might want to look at your house. But that kind of stuff is not long term. Because if I'm not out there knocking doors, then I'm not earning any money.
Yeah. So do what you're good at and let the rest have these pockets.
And if you want short-term wins, I can give you 50 ways of getting those short-term wins. That's all fine. But when those short-term wins run out, what then?
Okay. Yeah.
And that's when the short-term stuff runs out, when the market dips down.
Yeah.
And then you end up going, oh, you sit in your boardroom going, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Get some Google ads on the go, quick.
See, on my sort of thing is that if you don't know how to nurture or look after the leads or have conversations, and you're just putting more in the top end, it's a bit of a waste of money.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing with estate agents. A lot of estate agents are there. I'd say 70-80% of them live on short-term wins in terms of their marketing, and that's why you see, like a couple of years ago, the market went down, very low buyer activity, 20% less homes than the year previously were sold, and then 20% of agents went out of business. They're completely reliant on who's out there in the market today. because they don't nurture, they don't build a brand over time, they don't invest in the content strategies, and therefore, like I've worked with agents that they didn't have a bad year really in 2023 because they had the nurture system, they had the brand on social media, they were still investing in their marketing, and they'd had that plan going back 5 years. So they didn't really notice too much of a difference, whereas all their competitors suffered and some of them went out of business.
Obviously, everything, you're being bombarded with ads. Bombarded with ads. So how do you break through that to get consumers to engage with an agent's content? So if I was hiring you, James, would I be going, there's so much out there at the minute. How are you going to turn those people into leads? What would you say?
Well, it's just about what's trending, isn't it? So this is what I noticed a few years ago. A lot of the advice out there in the industry is value, 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 this thing, that thing, tips on selling your home, tips on buying, property market stats. All those things are great, but they don't get you the attention on social media because it only speaks to a very small number of home movers that are moving now or know they're looking to move.
Has it moved on from that, is what you're saying?
I think it's just the fact that, on social media, you've got your entire market out there, and that's typically, unless you're going to target it with ads, that's typically who you're reaching. I'd say the only reason paid ads are there on social media, I'm not too sure if this is the case for you with Google, Clint, but it's a case of that just speeds up the process of you speaking to the right people today or getting the right people to follow you and see your content. With your content, if you're just talking to people that are selling and buying a home now, for example, or just that valuable stuff that people need to know if they're moving, there's not enough people out there that are going to engage with that. You're not going to get the engagement in the algorithm and you're not going to reach that many people. Whereas if you say followers to see properties before they go on Rightmove, 93% of people on Rightmove aren't in the market to do anything. They're just taking a look. So they're not looking to buy, sell, rent, anything. They're just taking a look. The average person, the average person over the age of 18 in the UK spends typically 10 minutes a day on Rightmove and 2 or 3 hours a day on social media. So it's the exact same audience, right? So if people are looking at Rightmove or they're watching Selling Sunset on Netflix, I think Escape to the Country has been one of the longest running TV shows for over 20 years. Yep. So that's what people, just everyday people in your market care about. That's what gets their engagement. Not, doesn't maintain their attention as such, but that's what initially gets them to follow you. So if you just go,
you've got to know that market. You can't speak to a market without knowing it. Because the market is so big. Like you think about who sells houses. It could be a chap on his own. It could be a lady on its own. It could be a married couple. It could be a retiring couple. It could, like, every walk of life, if they're in the position to, would buy a house, right? So you look at the homeowners on a whole and you can't, there's certain political stuff going on at the moment, but you can't go, it's only this kind of demographic that own properties. It's every demographic that own properties. So if you are going out there with how many leads can we get? How many? And just speaking to the whole audience, you won't get anywhere.
You've got to niche it.
You have to. And I know companies that go more into the investment side of things. If you're a landlord in the area, I've got a great property for you. There's a company around my area, which is the Birmingham area. All they do is investment. They just speak to landlords all the time. If you're a landlord in Birmingham, you've got to check out this house. If you're a landlord in Birmingham, you've got to look at these interest rates. And they are the go-to for landlords. They've got the biggest portfolio. And you go, okay, they are speaking to a specific audience. So when they go landlords in Birmingham and you're a landlord in Birmingham, you go, yeah, you're listening.
Do you think estate agents they get that about knowing their ideal client, which is what we're talking about?
Yeah.
They do what's called like a scattergun approach to the market.
Yeah.
And rather than going, actually the language, the vision of the business, the tone, everything needs to be geared around our ideal market.
It does, but I think that, like, if you're just starting out on social media, for example, or just trying to build your brand, I think that for me, the foundational level of content that just works every time and quickly gets people following you, and that kind of niche, if you like, is just your local area. We're in Peterborough now. If I just start doing a lot of property videos and say, follow me to see this property before it goes on Rightmove and more properties in, or a specific area, for example, or a specific postcode, very quickly everybody in that postcode or looking to move to those postcodes sees you, and they know to follow you first.
What 3 things would you recommend to an estate agent that they need to do first with their social media lead generation? And then I'll ask you the same in a moment.
So I think that as soon as you've got instructions, it's just a case of having some kind of pre-launch strategy. You're going to do this video outside of the property.
Pre-launch strategy.
You're going to put it on your story. You're going to share it into local Facebook groups. You're going to put a bit of money behind it. Maybe you get 50 quid up front from the vendor along with the photo fee if you do that. And you put that into just an awareness campaign or an engagement campaign, or you just boost it on Instagram, for example. And you tell people it's coming soon, and make sure to reach out to you on Instagram or Facebook or follow you there to see more properties before they come to the market. Doing that for every single property you have is going to get you tens of thousands of views very quickly at very low cost. It's going to get you thousands of followers, and it's going to get you, off the back of all the local people following you, some referrals and some potential buyers reaching out that could buy that property. And then off the back of that, some potential sellers as well. I'd say foundationally, in terms of one thing you have to do, that's it. Because it gets you the leads and inquiries you want today from both sellers and buyers. It also gets you the overall brand awareness because it has that fear of missing out, and it's in line with the consumer behavior we just spoke about and what everybody's just nosy about and just wants to see anyway. So that ticks all the boxes. And if you have instructions, you can all do it very quickly. It's not a difficult thing to do. I'd say just one thing as a foundation, that has to be it. That everybody has to do, like non-negotiable, definitely. I would say on top of that, then when you start to get more of an audience, start to talk about the market, maybe properties that you've sold, some of the transactions and difficulties that you've had in those transactions, some of the questions you're being asked when you go into valuations. Because once you've got an audience, you're going to have people thinking of moving.
Ask questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But only when you've got an audience of people that are starting to know, like, and trust you, is it worth doing that?
Yeah.
Because then you've got people to nurture in that audience.
You've got the audience.
Because it's just such a small audience there that you're talking to if you're going along the valuable based topics.
And what's the final one, would you say? The cherry on the cake?
I would say having a very good retargeting ad strategy to all the people that are familiar with the brand.
You've got the familiar followers, the likes, the engagers. It's about making sure that we keep in touch with those. So that's called retargeting for estate agents that don't.
And that's where you're going to get the highest intent leads for the most.
Does that cost more for someone to do that?
It depends on what your goals are.
Depends on what you're trying to achieve.
It does. I would say that you can retarget with a carousel with some of your most recent properties for sale and to sign up to see them or to book a viewing. I would say have a carousel of properties that you've sold recently and sign up to get a valuation. Those are the typical funnels that you would set up. It hits both sides of a sales business. So I would say that's your typical social media funnel and probably the most cost effective and fastest way to be able to build that up.
Step one, sort out what happens when people get to where you've got Google going them to. So let me step back a bit. Google is just a form of transport. So it's just getting traffic somewhere. And again, I love analogies, so I'm going to give you an analogy here. If someone comes to me and says, we've got this theme park and all we need you to do, don't worry about what happens at the theme park. All we want you to do is get as many coach loads of people that love theme parks. We just want you getting them going to the theme park. And I'll go, brilliant. And I get 25 coaches, all full of people ready for a theme park. When they arrive at that theme park, if there's no rides on the go.
This is a good analogy, by the way.
If there's no rides on the go, guess where those people are going to go?
Yeah.
They're not going to stick around and go, where can we spend our money? Because there's nowhere to spend their money. No. So make sure, first of all, that the stuff that's on Google, when people see it, they go, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because what
sort of things?
Okay, Google business profile.
The business profile.
So your actual business profile.
Okay.
What does that look like? How many reviews on there? What's the content on there?
Yeah.
When I speak to people and go, what's your content like on your business profile? They go, what do you mean? And I go, you can update your business profile every single day, which means Google will love your business profile, which means Google will put it at the top of Google Maps. So it'll put it everywhere. So step one is make sure it's come back to content, isn't it? So, I mean, we're talking about 3 examples here. Let me talk about 3 things. The number 1 most used website, Google. The number 2 most used website is YouTube, which is owned by Google. Number 3 is still Facebook. So in those top 3, what do you look like when people arrive, when people show up? Because when these coaches turn up to the theme park,
have a look, guys, if you're watching this, what James has said and what Clint said, because I think I fall into the trap. It's very easy not to pay attention to this. It's really easy because, as you've already alluded to, and I know you know and have experienced, you're in the day-to-day. You're working, the phone's ringing, emails are coming in. You just don't prioritise it. how long realistically though? Sorry, I've cut across your touch. I'm going to come back to you just on some of this stuff. But how long will it take an agent to actually get this sort of stuff set up so it's done? And how much maintenance time is involved with keeping it up to date?
So it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
It has to be an ongoing process because, like James touched on, there's trends that happen, and you've got to look at what trends are happening. TikTok's blowing up at the minute. I've only put a few things on TikTok.
Mine's not fucking blowing up at the
Mine
moment,
is
Bertie. I need to have a little
blowing
word with you over
I've
there.
got
Put
pe-
bow your head in
I have
shame.
got people contacting me on TikTok going, come and sell my property, because all I talk about there is solving problems. So if people want to solve a problem, they come to me on TikTok. So you've got to follow these trends. So you've got to do, I would say, if you did as little as 10 minutes a day on your social media and your Google stuff, you would be so far ahead of other agents who would be unreal. And an example of what those things are, on Google, you can just update the profile. And what would you update your social media with? Or you'd put a new property on there, or you put an article or a blog or whatever. You can do the same on Google. So, but then you look at something like your website. And I'll tell you what happens with websites. People go, yeah, my website's still a bit, I wish I had a new website. We were going to do a new one 3 years ago, but we didn't. And you go, what?
Do you think is that agents think is important?
Maybe, but I think what you've got to think, or what agents have got to think about, is before you make one of the biggest decisions of your whole life, you stalk that idea and you stalk that product and you stalk estate agents for months and months and months, if not years before. So if you were going to sell now, you're a family man, it would be an upheaval of your whole family, schools, workplaces and all of that. How long would it take you to make a decision to move to another area? Would you just go, I've seen an advert, right, on social media. It says put your house on the market now, so I'm doing it.
No.
Like it doesn't. You'd start going.
I'd say a year. It's normally a year, 18 months, isn't it?
A year or 18 months. So have you, and again, this is going back to someone called Mark Burgess. I'm sure loads of people know him out there. This is, the 7-11-4, but this is always also going back to, is there enough content on there? Is there enough content on your website, on YouTube, on Google, to entertain people enough that they're not then going to go and look at someone else? So if someone's trying to find out, what's the first thing you do? Do you get your house valued first, or do you find a house first? Let me look it up. And all of a sudden you arrive on someone's website and they go, here's a video about what to do first. Do I get a valuation first, or do I find a house first? So the biggest issue I come across when I work with agents is that I'm the traffic man. I can just drive traffic to where you need it to go to. What happens when they get there
is up to you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's the theme park. Are they going to spend money in the theme park, or are they not?
I suppose like the old days of estate agency. What you were being, James. If I'm being brutally honest, and Bertie doesn't even know what a newspaper is, but it's one of those things you open up. You used to be on a Thursday. People open up and see a nice picture of a house, and you'd sit there as an agent Thursday afternoons, and you'd wait for the phone to ring, and it would go off the hook. Especially if you had more pages of advertising than the other agents.
People used to walk in with, they used to tear out the house they wanted to view and
bring
go,
it in. But it was still part of, that was still, when the adverts worked, the newspaper was driving traffic to your estate agency. What was the response like of your estate agents in those
Let me tell you,
agencies?
We had one week at an agent, and I won't name names here, but a very, very, very well-known agent, where the one week we didn't hit the newspaper deadline. Yeah. And everyone's going mental. There was a meeting called. Whose fault was it? There were rumours of people getting sacked. That was just 1 week, right? Because we didn't have that 2 pages of here's our available properties and here's our sold properties. So take that concept now and go, okay, when people arrive on a Thursday and open the newspaper, they see your ad of your estate agency and they go, brilliant, we're going to go view these houses. That newspaper now is social media. It's Google. And people are not putting that much importance. Now, we missed that deadline once and everything blew up in that office. But now I'm saying to agents, have you put any new content on your website? And they go, nah, not for a couple of years. And I'm going, what?
Good. He loves it. I've got to say, he's got a good analogy here and there.
He does.
Hasn't he? I mean, I think I lent him a little bit of that one. I did. But look, you got ChatGPT. You mentioned it, the wrapper, right? The wrapper of chat. Everything's ChatGPT with a wrapper. But versus Google, how's Google changing with that threat, I suppose? And you're known as Google Clint. Are you going to be known as ChatGPT? Chat Clint. That could be anything, really, couldn't it?
So, and I was literally...
You're going to get yours, because I know
That's
this
all
is
good,
something
it's all
you're
good.
going to
I was literally thinking about this in the car on the way over here. Because on one hand, I'm thinking if you just remain as an ordinary Google expert, your time is limited. And what's that limited time? I don't know, but there is a limited time on that. And then I started thinking, ChatGPT at the moment, and it develops every single day, but at the moment, you ask ChatGPT a question and it goes, this is the answer. And you've either then got to ask it, well, who else would you consider using? Or you've got to ask it more questions. You've got to prompt it. So ChatGPT still doesn't give, I don't think, the options of what Google gives. So if I Google something, I get a load of different websites and a load of different opinions, and I can choose, oh, that looks good or that looks good. And I kind of am still making my own mind up. And the threat is always, oh, Clint, what happens when you go on ChatGPT and go, who's the best estate agent in the area? That's an opinion. Like it could be, that could be based off volume. It could be based off customer service. It could be based off branding. It could be based off so many things that, yes, there are a percentage of people out there that are probably quite busy and will just go on ChatGPT. Who's the best agent? Oh, it's Smith and Sons. And you go, we'll use them then. Yeah. And there are people out there that will just do that. Yeah. But when you own £1 million worth of property, we're not quite at the stage where you're going to go, cool, we'll use them then. Because those people that own £1 million worth of property will want to, as I said earlier, they'll want to stalk agents first. They want to see how good that agent is and what they look like. And
or they've been inadvertently nurtured, subconsciously nurtured through advertising and
absolutely,
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What are your?
So I agree with what you said, Clint. But I think that, so you said ChatGPT is like an opinion, but it just basically ranking your stuff inside of ChatGPT. It's about what digital footprint you already have. So if you ask it for, terrace properties under 300k in specific area, Rightmove links are going to come up. I know on the market links come up a whole lot in there. I think they work hard on that and getting the content ranked inside of AI.
Who on the market do?
It comes up first all the time if you actually look at that. Yeah. Zoopla stuff doesn't. I know they hash their data, so it can't really access it all the time. Yeah. I don't think that's a good strategy for them.
Well, I asked ChatGPT where avocado are based. I put who's the best agent in that area.
But you've got a great digital footprint. You're doing all the things that we spoke about. But it didn't
categorically say just avocado. That's it. They said if you're a family looking to move, you might want to speak to avocado. If you are a buy-to-let landlord, you might want to speak to these people. And it gave a list of different. And that's when I went, it's about the content. It's exactly what you said. It's about the content and the niche. Yeah. Got to be about the niche.
But if you've got great Google reviews, you're updating your Google My Business, your videos on social media, you've got the right keywords in there, your captions.
So doing all of what you discussed earlier, and you're kind of getting all of your wraparound strategy, getting all of those things, even just 10 minutes a day, just looked after, and the bus arrives at any of those stations.
Because all it does, it just searches all the information out there that it's got available to itself, which is most of the data on the web and social media. So you've got people out there talking about, like, is this thing going to beat Rightmove? And we're probably going to go into that as well. But all it's a case of for the time being, it's just, a benefit of you doing all the right things you know to be doing anyway in your business and all the things that we've spoke about. If you do all those things consistently on a weekly or daily basis, your content, I know you said for families in the area, but a lot of your ideal kind of customer avatar, avocado, is that family. And you've kind of built the business around that. So most of your content is for those people. And so when ChatGPT, is going to give you an answer, it's going to look at all that content. So it's going to say, well, looking for a family home, these guys have a lot of family homes for sale. If you're a family looking to move, you should work with these guys. But if you're a letting agency or a property investment agency and you have the right content out there, it's going to recommend
Do you know,
as well.
I had an agent ring me up a couple of Saturdays ago. Well, he messaged me on the Friday, and actually I got his message and I thought it'd been hacked. So I got a message on Instagram. I was like, it doesn't sound like him, but it was. I ended up speaking to him the following day. He actually said, I went into ChatGPT and asked for a real estate agent or an estate agent coach, business coach in the UK, and it came up with me as number one.
Because a lot of your content is that, yeah. On YouTube, it says you're an estate agent coach and mentor. On Instagram, it does. A lot of your content is based around that.
That's not bragging. Well, maybe I have slipped it in there a little bit, but I think it's because what I've done over the last 6 months, more so with YouTube, with Instagram, and that kind of
exactly,
that's what's feeding
all it has to go off is just the content you put out, then your digital footprint.
So there's another benefit. What I'm sort of driving at for the agents that are watching this that are lacking motivation or really understanding maybe around why they should go around all of the stations that Clint was talking about. So when the coach arrives, love that analogy, they come to a place where it looks great. And actually, not only does it look great when those leads arrive, you're going to be helping your ChatGPT
or any of them,
search
Gemini,
someone who's using that format.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you were, and I love working out, love going to the gym. Can you imagine if you were looking for a new personal trainer or a new gym, and you typed into Google transformation of body in 12 weeks, or you want to get fit for the summer, or something along those lines, and you arrive at so Google take you to a website. And if that website comes up and all it says is, we're really good at fitness, you'd kind of be a bit let down. You go, are they though? You kind of go, okay, and you'd bounce out of that website. If you arrived at another website and straight away a picture came up of a chap that was slightly overweight and 6 weeks later he's ripped. And then the story of he works in an office, he's 35 years old, he went down the route of too many takeaways, and actually when he did this, it transformed his life. You kind of go, wow, that's me. I want to do that. And so you've got to have the same thing. You can't just get to a website and it goes, look how many houses we've sold, because you're kind of going, so what? You've sold those. But if you go down there and go, Mr. and Mrs. X were in this situation, and then we spoke to them and helped them out with this, this, and this, and there's that story, you go, I can relate to that. That's pretty cool. And don't forget, that's not Google, because all Google's done, or all social media's done, is got you there. It's driven you to that content.
How is Google changing though in the advent of what AI is doing? Are they doing anything?
AI, big time.
Because you see it when you search now. You see the AI.
You can switch
thing
it.
Come up,
you can switch it on and off. So first of all, you've got the AI that comes up, and that's, I guess, attached to like ChatGPT and that. But also the adverts.
Is that like piggybacking?
In a way, yeah. The adverts now, really interesting ad. You've got some companies designing awesome websites for estate agents now. And what Google is doing now is almost identical to ChatGPT, where you ask Google something and you go, and Google goes, I wonder who is the best. Because all Google want to do is give you quality results. If you do a Google search, you will never, guarantee you this, try it yourself, you will never see an advert come up with a spelling error or grammatical error. You will never see what's called circumventing. So you won't search for an estate agent and it takes you to another website that's selling watches. You'll never see that, because Google is very clever at giving you high quality content. And that's because AI, when it says results in so many seconds, that's AI that's gone out, it's scanned all the website and goes, right, this person has just asked for the best estate agent in the area. It'll go and scan all of the websites, all of the social media. Social media is now in Google. It'll scan Instagram, it'll scan Facebook, it'll scan your website, and it'll come back, and the one at the top will be the one that's best suited to that question. So the question for any business owners is your content best suited for what question? What question are people going to ask to get to you?
There is a thing, isn't there? There's a website or something where you can find out what the most search questions are.
There's a couple of softwares that I've been looking at recently. One of them is SEMrush, so SEMrush, that will show you all you can get a free trial on there.
SEMrush.
SEMrush, yeah.
SEM.
Yeah.
Rush.
That'll get you all of your highest volume keywords, and you probably use that for your Google ads and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then there is it's not a well-known tool inside of a estate agency. It's like first of its kind, and it helps bigger companies from outside of the industry rank their content or look at what their customers are searching for. It's called AirOps, so AIROPS. It will cost you about AirOps. Cost you about £500 a month, maybe even £1,000 a month. So it is an investment. Probably works for a company like you guys at Avocado. If you're doing a lot of content already, it will look at all your content. It will look at who it's for, and it constantly every hour runs searches inside of ChatGPT, Google's AI mode, Perplexity, all these like answer engines. And it has a good look at what are these customers searching for, what are their search terms in these AI answer engines, and then how can you optimize your content to increase your visibility and leads from these things. It's an expensive bit of kit, but it's the first of its kind. And there's companies that made millions from this.
Just one listing.
Just one. There you go. You got
pay for itself. Sorry, the prop tech out there, the industry. I know that's your one of your main pitches. We've dived a little bit into AI, but I think you sort of segued into Rightmove just then.
Favorite topic.
And you love it. Let's talk about the estate agents and their over-reliance maybe on Rightmove.
Okay, I'd say 80% of agents out there without Rightmove, they've got quite lazy and relying on it. They wouldn't be selling anywhere near the amount of properties that they... I mean, I'm about to alienate my whole customer base here, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway.
It's been nice knowing you.
This is good because I've got a different view on Rightmove. Okay, I'll give you in a second.
Yes, this could be the one.
Here we go.
This could be the one.
So the thing is with that is that like people tell me all the time on social media, well, without Rightmove, James, is the same number of people still move home. It's like, yeah, obviously they would do, right? They don't make a decision because they saw something on social media or because Rightmove's there. But it's just a case of like there's a over-reliance test you can do. You can say, okay, without Rightmove, how many homes would I sell? Well, I would get all my buyer leads from Zoopla on the market. Okay, fine. You would get less and you would sell less properties, but fine. I think Rightmove get 85% of all portal traffic. They really hog all of that every month. And even second and third best have to share a small piece of the pie with everybody else. I think that's part of the reason why Zoopla can't shift their property portal even at a cut price of 500 million, because they're just stuck at second. And I think the world with direct consumer content, answer engines and stuff with AI search engines is moving past it. But also it's a case of you take out, this is never going to happen, but you take out all the third party portals. Where are you going to get your buyer leads from? Are buyers out there going to know you have a property in the market? Well, if you're in Clint's position, Avocado's position, some other agents out there, agents that maybe work with me perhaps, you're going to still get a good amount of buyer leads through. If you've got a good nurture system with matches biased properties, you're still going to do that. But it's just a case of, will the same number of people move home with your business if there was no review sites, no portals, nothing like that? Would they? Or would you lose them to a competitor with a great digital footprint? You're going to lose them to a competitor. And even if we're not talking about seller visibility, you just go for buyer visibility out there and you have no portals at all, just social media, your database, Google, whatever. How are you going to attract sellers? Because if you can't get buyer attention, you can't sell a property, then they surely are better off moving with somebody else. So if you take all the third parties out of the equation, would you still be able to sell a property? For 80% of estate agents out there, they're basically so-and-so estate agents powered by Rightmove.
So instead of EXP, they're powered by Rightmove.
Basically, yeah. They should. I think that there's a lot of complaints about Rightmove. I think that people's only complaint should be when you get your little care package through with your 20% increase, your pens, your notepads, your stickers, they should ask for bigger stickers, that they don't get bigger stickers. That's the only complaint, because you wouldn't have the BMW, you wouldn't have the Range Rover without Rightmove, you wouldn't have the office. Like you wouldn't be living the life that you're living if you're doing well as an estate agent. If Rightmove is your only way of selling a property, you wouldn't be.
But I'm going to just pin that just for a second. I'm going to get what you just said. You disagree.
Yeah.
So tell me what are your thoughts on the estate agents and their feelings on Rightmove?
So Rightmove, brilliant. What a brilliant piece of kit. And where people get confused on the opinion of Rightmove is that the question over, what if you took Rightmove away now? It's not going to go away, right? But more the question, and you've absolutely nailed it there, because it's more the question of how solid are you as a business? Because if you're a business, if you are Sainsbury's and the only thing you could sell is steaks, and then steaks went away, you're wrecked. But what Sainsbury's are really good at, they sell everything. They don't need to rely on any one product. And so, another analogy.
He loves that, doesn't he? This is the analogy show.
Yeah.
These are chat GPT analogies, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Research them beforehand.
And so I think I saw a Facebook group, and I'm sure you're aware of it, like boycott Rightmove. Yeah. And I'm saying people are having conversations with me, and I have lots of conversations with lots of business owners. And they're going, we're trying to set our business up so we can come off Rightmove. And I'm going, don't come off Rightmove. Please do not come off Rightmove. And they're going, yeah, but they've increased the fees. And I'm like, so how much are the fees now? Oh my God, we're paying £2,500 a month. And I go, is that it? Are you joking me? So if we look at other sectors, look at investment sectors, right? If I went to a big investor, who's a big investor? Warren Buffett. And I said to him, I've got this new share. I've got this new thing. Yeah, what is it? Right. You invest £2,500 a month, and with a good team, you can get 50 grand a month back. What? Hang on a second. What do you mean? If you break it down and you look at a decent estate agent will maybe exchange on 50 grand's worth of property a month, right? A good solid estate agent, 50 grand. Some do a lot more than that. And then they break it all the way down. And the one thing they're worried about is their £2,500 Rightmove fee. I think if you are a proper businessman or businesswoman, you would pay £10,000 a month for Rightmove. And I know people will be listening to this going, what? Oh, we hate Rightmove. But if you're that short-sighted...
Is it because that? They're just short-sighted?
Well, I think, again, it's how you've built your business. So it's exactly what James says. You're looking at your main part of the business is Rightmove, and you're going, but they're charging me more. And you're going, yeah, but you're earning a lot of money off that.
But back in the day, I don't know many estate agents advertise in the newspaper. We touched on that earlier about newspapers.
They replaced the newspapers.
That used to be like £300, £400, £500 a page.
20 years ago.
20 years
it's
ago.
The same
so
fees.
Inflation,
yes.
What would that be now?
Inflation.
The same as Rightmove.
With over £1,000 a week, you'd be paying on newspapers.
So you'd be paying £4,000 roughly.
Yeah. And you wouldn't hesitate, would you?
No.
You'd take out a full page for 800 quid and you go, look how brilliant that ad is.
But the big bit I think estate agents maybe need to think about if they're a business owner is where do the leads end up? So going back to the point at the start, we talk about nurture and content. You mentioned Avocado got 52 nurture journey videos. Was that what
they've got more than that? It was last month that they just created 52 more.
So how many would you say they've got?
Oh God, they're probably closing in on 100 different.
So let's say they've got 100 videos. Give an example of just one video. So an estate agent, because what I'm trying to get at here, this is really to help estate agents to make better decisions with experts like yourself. If you're spending £2,500 a month and you're getting on average 25 leads a month, say, just for argument's sake from Rightmove, right? You're getting 25 leads in. Some of them might buy in the next 7 to 14 days. The majority will probably be in the next 6 to 18 months, something like that, roughly. Yeah. But the point is where do they go? What happens to those clients next? What do they get from your brand?
That's what anyone, and I think this is my opinion, but anyone that complains about how much Rightmove costs are the kind of people that don't even understand their own business. So if you have got one property on Rightmove and one person registers to view that and they've got a house to sell, you've made your money back if you look after that client. So what I don't know, short-term thinkers or people that maybe don't understand the business properly is they look and go, how many book valuations are we getting from Rightmove? Who cares? Doesn't matter. I look at how many buyers are registering and what are the opportunities with those buyers. There are so many. Have they got a house to sell, mortgages? And also, the more buyers you've got registered, the more houses you can sell, obviously, because you put a house on the market and you've already got these people registered. In order to book a viewing on Rightmove, what do you have to do? You have to give your details. You can't get away with not giving your details. And so an agent that goes, well, I only got 6 valuations from Rightmove this month. No, you didn't. You probably got 100. How many viewings did you book this month? Oh, we booked 300 viewings. All right. Let's talk about leads, because Now you've got 300 new people registered on your system. What are you doing with those then? And are you retargeting them through Facebook? Are you retargeting them through Google? Do you know on Google, you can retarget everyone that's been on your website that month. So not only can you give them brilliant content, is you can then retarget those people through Google and through Facebook. And there's people not doing this.
Yeah. I
There's
see a
people not doing
great
this.
way to retarget Rightmove traffic is, I don't know if you're allowed to do this or not, but I've seen plenty of people do it.
Oh,
Your Rightmove video. So you typically would upload like a YouTube video or something, your property video on the listing. I don't know if you're going to get away with this. A lot of people do. If you just link an Instagram Reels video tour that's optimized to get as many views on Instagram, you can just link it in there. When people click the virtual tour, they go to
Takes you
Instagram
to your profile.
and you can just retarget all of your Rightmove traffic from there. Yeah.
yeah. So you get a list.
Mugging it a little bit, but you can get away
You
with
can
it.
have a list of people. I'm going into your world here, but you can have a list of people that have watched 3 seconds of your video. You can have a list of people that have watched 10 seconds of your video, and you can just say, I want this new ad going out to anyone that's watched more than 10 seconds of my content. Where's that 10 seconds of the content? Well, YouTube is the platform that Rightmove use for the property tours. So whenever you click on a property tour, it goes to YouTube. And guess what? Who owns YouTube?
Google.
Google own YouTube. And so you've got all this data. So if I've got a property on Rightmove, if you look at the stats on Rightmove, you get anything between 2,000 and 4,000 people a month looking at a property. Even if it's not selling, you always get between 2,000 and 4,000 people a month. Out of those, you're probably looking at about 30 to 40% have viewed the video on there. You've got that data. You can use that data and you can retarget them with your content. So how powerful is Rightmove? I'll pay 10 grand a month for it if you want.
Oh,
you heard it here
there's
first.
There's a clip.
But it depends what you do with it.
Right. So that bit, I think if you're running an estate agent today and we had Dave Gibbons on the show a little while ago, really good guy. And he said, look, I'll drop 3 B players for an A. Would you drop a B player or 2 B players or 3 B players for someone to manage the marketing that we've all been talking about? Outsource, probably better today in your business.
100%.
Because I think we're all geared up as estate agents to have a sales negotiator. But if you've got Rightmove, Zoopla, Life Cycle or something such as that, and you've got all of this stuff going on, and there's nobody pulling it all together with a strategy, it's actually costing.
Yeah, but then where that strategy goes is that you as the business owner, and we've all been guilty of this, whether you're a branch manager or a business owner, you're guilty of going to your valuers and going, how are you generating more houses to come on the market? And they're going, now all of a sudden they've got to become marketeers. Hang on, you employed them as a valuer. You didn't employ them as your marketing director.
Get on video, yes.
Yes, but this
I'm not asking you to go and create Facebook ads.
Yeah, so then you've got...
Sorry.
He'll
do it for you.
You've got these really good valuers, managers, etc., and they're doing amazing videos, and they're doing that on the ground stuff. Well, who's then watching those videos? Who's then retargeting that data? Who's doing all of that? So yeah, you're right. If you had 3 brilliant valuers all on the road, but then you had one awesome marketeer behind them pulling it all together, oh man, yeah. So I would say instead of having 4 valuers on the road, have 2 on the road and employ a marketing team behind them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get somebody to run your social media, Google, etc., all this marketing, it gets you valuations now. Let's say it gets you 5 valuations a week. How much would you pay a valuer that can go out and get you 5 valuations a week and attend them and get some instructions on the market? That's the kind of way to look at it. I had somebody took on board a couple of months ago was saying, look, if you can hit this kind of target, I would happily pay you double the fee that you're charging me. And that's what they're a brand new business, but that's what it's worth to their business in their market. I'm not going to do that. It's in line with everybody else's kind of stuff. But that's how I think the best agents look at it, is that if I can get these valuations now, and these people that are looking to sell between now and the next 12 months, and we can nurture them, we can get through the door initially before anybody else can do, what is that worth to your business? And you can do that consistently. That makes or breaks an estate agency, surely.
So it's a real kind of mindset shift for a lot of agents out there that are, looking at the next, because I don't think much is going to change in the property market. In fact, it might become even more challenging than it currently sits, potentially. And when I say that, I'm probably talking about maybe confidence in the market and maybe prices cooling even more, potentially. And I'm only saying that as a hunch that the current incumbents at number 10 aren't massively good at growing anything, maybe other than the black hole. But anyway, and I get the feeling that at the minute that this is the perfect time to build your business, to build a business. And Mark said this, Mark Burgess goes, people focus on I'm going to do an impression of it. People just focus on estate agency. They need to focus on building a business.
Depending on what your role is.
Well, yeah,
depending
absolutely.
on what your role is.
But that's the point. So in a business, you have roles. In a football team, you have positions.
So why try and get your valuer, who's awesome at valuing, and he gets on people really well, and he wins business? Why are you getting him to do someone like James's job, where he's awesome at social media?
Do you know, I think we all flip between trying to figure out what the right thing is, and we don't stick with it for long enough.
There's a few right things. So I think a strong social media presence, a strong content strategy, a strong Google presence and Google strategy, essentially offline direct mail strategy, and then of course I think portal strategy. Just take the basic Rightmove package and have a very good nurture sequence to kind of bring all this marketing together for the long term, and a nurturing system. And I think that you've got a perfect estate agency set up at that point. It will cost you up front quite a lot, but also you'll save a lot of money from, your Rightmove add-ons, your Zoopla fees, your on the market fees, because these things, I can tell you from experience, they can be replaced very quickly with paid social media and paid Google ads, and having the right kind of investment into your brand where people are engaging with you, and that's always more valuable for your business. I think that the day of having like the kind of second and third rate stuff that doesn't pay directly into your brand, I think those days are over, to be honest with you.
So will social media ever beat the portals?
Well, you can do. It's our favorite thing to talk about. I think that it won't. I don't think you can beat like Rightmove, for example, on like directly competing with it. I also don't think that a lot of people are looking at AI and saying, "Oh, ChatGPT search will take over Rightmove," whatever. Rightmove aren't doing any AI innovations right now. But I'm telling you, like this talk, and there's people going up and down the country. I guess there's a lot of talk on social media about AI search beating Rightmove, because that's what estate agents want to see. I don't quite know why you'd want to see the thing that you rely on the most fail.
I don't think. I just think that Clint hit the nail on the head earlier. That let's say Rightmove never existed, and you went into an estate agent's today and said, "Right, let me sit down with you. Right, what's your business goals? What's your turnover? I want to do $500,000. Okay, fantastic. And how many valuations do you think you're going to need to achieve that? How many completions? How many sales agreed? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, I can give you 75% of the leads that will help you to get there. And it will cost you $2,500 a month. It's like, yes, okay, thanks very much. But I think there's this preconditioning, because in our industry, and I think we all feel that there's an element where sometimes you haven't got that localized personal service that you're looking for from an account manager, and when they do arrive, it's normally with a 20% increase, and I think that just kind of rubs up agents the wrong way. But actually, if you go into their hub, if you look at what they've got behind the scenes for agents to use with clients, to help clients to make better decisions, because it's a lot easier to change a price strategy if you can show them how it all works. And if you've got all of the data, the statistics, a client's more likely to believe Rightmove and their data than anything else, because they recognize that that's data is a strong kind of got credibility. That makes sense.
I would argue that estate agents, for all the hate Rightmove gets, I don't think estate agents hate Rightmove. If we work it back a little bit, people are really not going to like this one, but I don't even think estate agents dislike the fee increases. You said, would you swap out 3 B plays for marketing that could do it? I think that I know, Clint, you said you spend 10 grand on Rightmove. I think that if Rightmove increased their fees 200% tomorrow, first of all, we're going to get a lot of people complaining about trade standards on LinkedIn again, and petitions and stuff. I think that all those kind of things there, basically what you're saying as an industry is, you're kind of raising your hand to say, we can't help ourselves, so we're just going to kind of complain and hand over more power to another company. I think that people don't dislike Rightmove. They don't dislike the fee increases. They don't even dislike their over-reliance on it, and they know that over-reliance is correlated to the fact that they're incapable of getting their own leads. It's not even that. It's more the fact that people know there's blueprints out there. There's plenty of agents that have done it. There's one right here that you're listening to. There's companies out there, not loads, but there's enough of the examples in the market now to do it with social media, do it with Google, do it with your website, etc. And people know how to do it. I just think they don't want to, a lot of people don't want to take the extra time to learn about filming the right videos, put a pre-launch together, make the investment. That's what people don't like. And it's easy to project that onto Rightmove because they're the ones that increase your fees all the time. But there's plenty of lack of innovation in plenty of other things that you use in your business today.
So socials won't beat the portals. Just use the, they can do a lot to get ahead and create. Is that what we're saying?
I think that if you took your, I can prove this to you, if you took your on the market spend and your Zoopla spend and you spent it in the right way on social media, you'd get a whole lot more buyer leads and you would get the same, if not more viewings, and also a lot more valuations too, directly off the back of your brand and your funnel, spending the same amount of money you do on those second-rate portals. And if you took your bells and whistles and those extra fees from Rightmove and you put it into the same kind of valuation and buyer funnels on social media and potentially Google as well, you probably get a lot more out of it. I think you only really need the basic Rightmove package in today's market.
Interesting, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people that are running, because I think business owners are getting it hit really hard in estate agency.
Oh, massively.
They've got people saying that everyone should go self-employed tomorrow.
Yeah.
The government have pretty much shafted them as well, let's be honest.
Yep.
And then Rightmove might trickle in the new year and say, how's it all going? By the way, we've got a new package.
Well, yeah, they can do that though, because they know you need it.
They do. And to be honest, they're running a business as well, right?
Yeah.
So, it's their prerogative. But I think what I'm taking away from this, and I'm just as guilty, I'm a really good estate agent. I fell into kind of building a business a little bit, and then you kind of learn as you go. And I sit on all of my podcasts with all these guests thinking, yeah, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. I should be doing that. And I think that's one of the problems. I think I think we all sit there sometimes thinking we need to be doing all of these things, but you don't. I think actually what you've got to be doing is making it really clear where you want to be, first of all, and then working your way back, creating a strategy and actually going, do you know what? This is what we're going to use Rightmove for, and this is where it's going to go, and this is where the clients end up. I love the analogy about people getting on a coach and they're going, and if you think of every point that you've got your clients, they're being driven towards, what do they see when they get there? You should really think about that actually. But I would also go one step further to anyone listening to this, and that's who deals with them as well. What does that experience look like as well?
It's now not who, it's who and what deals with them.
What deals with them?
Where's your data going? And years ago, all you had was a telephone on your desk.
Yeah.
So you had to phone them, right?
Yeah.
So that's one form of interaction.
Yeah.
How many forms of interaction have we got now? So many.
It's tough.
So then you're going, with all these leads coming in, what's happening with them? And what you've just touched on there, all it is down to strategy. It's just strategy. What are we using Google for? What are we using Facebook for? What are we using Rightmove for? And where's all this going? Where I get you, I think you said this right at the start, we're a very reactive industry. And that's why there's so many snake oil salesmen around. There's so many silver bullet salesmen. I'm talking about suppliers. So they come to you as an agent or an agency owner and they go, look how shiny this is. And I go, wow, let's try that then. And what I want to do is step back and go, whoa. Is that in the strategy that you planned out at the beginning of the year? Because if it's not, don't worry about it.
Before we sort of wrap up, got a couple of things. So AI replacing agents?
No. Surely.
Okay. No,
I think it's too much of a personal thing. I think there's too many things that go on. I think, there's a lot of things to do with like the points of interaction. There's a lot that AI can do. But as long
Buying
as
a house very emotional, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. But as long as you give them a call and you're working them through that, there's actually someone on the end of it.
Because there's yesterday I found out that there is a school in America that is teacherless. It's all AI. Look it up. It's all AI. The students go in. They still go to a building. So that again, I'm like, if it's all AI and it's all virtual, why do you even go to the building? So they go to the building in the classrooms. They log on. They get taught all the stuff, and they get taught by bots and virtual reality. And so you go, well, you can't replace teachers. Well, when you teach someone something, depending on the subject, sometimes you just need to learn the facts, and that's it. However, when you buy a house, unless it's an investment is on a calculator.
It's always a calculator.
I think you can replace investment purchasing with AI, 100%.
Yeah.
Because AI could go to,
well,
that's a terrace.
Isn't there a tool that kind of does that?
Yeah,
as well?
that's a terrace house in that area. It's going to give you a return on your money of 8%. Do you want to go ahead? Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas estate agency not estate agency, buying a family home or buying a home for yourself to live in is, and always will be, this is one thing that technology will never change, it's an emotional purchase. And so you've got to relate to that person, you've got to talk to that person, and you've got to help them with that emotional journey rather than AI. AI can't do that yet.
So is AI just another buzzword in a estate agency?
No, it's
No,
much
I think
more than a buzzword.
it's a tech boom
it's a
the size of
future.
the .com boom 25 years ago in the
Bigger.
entire world. Yeah,
I'd say it's
potentially
bigger than
yeah.
.com.
Yeah.
It's bigger.
Coming back to coming back to the people side, because you just kind of touched on that quite nicely about emotion. Do you think estate agents need more training or just more discipline?
Ooh, that's for me, that's one and the same thing. Training and discipline. So when you go to be trained, so you go to a course, a seminar, whatever, and you get someone brilliant that then trains you, what is it that then makes that person carry out what they've learned? Discipline. So it's not one or the other. You've got to have that discipline, but you've also got to learn about these tools, and you've got to learn what your place is in the world with these tools. So if you're a valuer on the road, what's your job now? It's relationships with people. Everything else is catered for. Rightmove, you can advertise on social media, Google, everything else is catered for. So don't get out of your lane. Stay in your lane. You're the guy that's going to be the go-to, but you've got all these tools around you can use. I don't use AI. No, use it. But make sure you're still that person on the ground that's dealing with emotions and the volatility and the emotional world of buying a property, which is stressful.
What do you think?
I don't think it's really my question to answer, to be honest, because I've never been sat in that environment. But I think I'd agree with the vast majority of that. A lot of things that you could do in your business are catered for. I think a lot more tasks will be taken off your hand.
I suppose where I was going,
I
was kind of looking at it thinking, get your agents to be more human.
Sure.
100%.
And better emotionally.
Yeah.
And let outsourcing, AI, who deals with the stuff from Rightmove, where does it go, what do you need to do with it, what your strategy, get other people to really help you with that especially.
To just have the best people, I think, at what they're good at, and obviously hire the best people that you can find for the various roles in your business. I mean, it's kind of common sense, really.
It is common sense, but there's a lot of conditioning in our industry, which I think it's like old habits.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy how estate agents try and be brilliant at everything. Imagine
and it's not possible, right?
It's not possible. Imagine going back to football. Imagine going to a footballer and go, next weekend you've got to play rugby because that's our new department.
God, I tried to play rugby once.
It's
a fucking disaster.
It just wouldn't work, would it? They're staying in their own lane. You're a striker, go and score goals. You're a defender, defend the goal. That's it. Don't try and get out of your lane. We'll take care of management. We'll take care of advertising. We'll take care of your wages. You just score some goals. So within your business, that's what you need.
So it's all ROI, short, medium, long term, having specialists around you as part of your team. And I know you're bound to say it, but you two guys really do know your stuff. It's been brilliant to have you on and properly sit down and have a conversation. Do you feel we've covered enough? We've gone quite niche today. The most of the pods that I've done have kind of broadened slightly, but I really wanted to niche it. So I think that the people listening will take a lot from the Google, Facebook, social media, AI conversation that we've had today. So thanks, mate. And thank you. It's been really great to have you on, Clint. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I'm sure you have. If you've got any questions, though, you ought to reach out to these guys. Where's the best place to reach out to you, Clint?
Or social media.
Yeah.
Google
Clint.
If you Google him and he's nowhere near the top, then don't use him. And obviously James
LinkedIn,
Cocker as well.
Facebook, and all you're going to need, guys, for all this stuff, remember, is the cost of one instruction.
Yeah! But no, I just want you to keep following. We've had the most incredible feedback, and I've had some stats come through with over 50,000 views on YouTube of the show, which I just want to thank you, because we never expected that so soon into the journey, with around 14, 15 episodes released. So that's brilliant. Subscribe, because that means you get the content first. Obviously, it means that you can message me about the kind of guests, if you want to be on the show as well, that you want to see, subjects, topics that you think we should dive into. But keep following us, keep supporting us. I really am grateful. Take care, and I'll see you on the next show.